everyone, it's Mary here. Welcome to the live stream. I am your host, Mary, and host of the Leather Tamers private Facebook group, as well as the Leather Beast website, where you can go to learn the best methods for traditional leather work. So what I wanted to do today was to go over what the theme for November is going to be for blog posts and the weekly live streams. So welcome to anybody who's new and just joined in the last week. I do a weekly live stream here on the topic that I'm either covering on the blog or related to the theme for the month. So that's what I'm talking about. So we'll talk about that in a second, but first I wanted to ask you a question. Have you ever considered starting your own side hustle, your own side business related to leather work, but you're just not quite sure how to do it or how to get started or what's involved? Maybe you've thought about selling your own leather goods or your own services in some way, or doing custom work for clients, or a standard collection that you'll sell on your own website or your Etsy shop, or maybe you're thinking about selling to a shop in your town or city, either on consignment or wholesale. Whatever it is, if you thought about doing this, but the thought of figuring out how to do this and how to go about pricing your product and getting it out there and marketing has kind of held you back, I just wanted to share a little story with you about how I kind of stumbled into a side hustle a couple years back, and how if I can stumble into it, then you can stride into it with a little bit of help. So basically in 2008, when the economy was kind of tanking and people were laying off, companies were laying off people by the hundreds and thousands, I got laid off, and that was a blessing in disguise because I really hated that job. So it was just kind of like, great, I don't have to go there anymore. I'm unemployed now, but I don't have to go there anymore. So I was really happy about that. And then, so for the next week, I did sit around and just kind of enjoyed my time off, watched a lot of TV. And then after a week of doing that, I was kind of like, all right, what am I going to do with my time off between now and the time where I can find a new job? And I don't really like to sit idle. I like projects and I liked making things. So I started sewing because I had a sewing machine. And I knew some basic like sewing skills, but I didn't really have anything, you know, super formal training in sewing. But I came across this book called Sew You by Wendy Mullen. If anybody knows who she is the founder and creator of Built by Wendy, the clothing line that's been around since I think the 90s now. And she started from scratch and just kind of built her way up. But anyways, she had this book full of tutorials and sewing patterns and just really easy stuff, like how to make a t-shirt and how to make like a sweatshirt and just big kind of roomy clothes. So I started making some of those and wearing some of these clothes, and my friends were like, whoa, those are really great, I really like what you're doing. So I thought, like, wow, maybe I have something here. I'm getting this like positive response from my friend group on what I'm doing. Maybe this could turn into a small business. So so I decided that I needed to find some fabric, and I couldn't just keep going to the local Joann Fabrics or whatever and buying fabric by the yard, you know, $6 or $7 or $8 a yard, paying retail prices. If I was thinking about starting a business, I needed to find a way where I could kind of cut my costs so that I could actually make a profit. So I started looking online, and I found some fabric outlets in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and I'm from Pennsylvania. So I went to Pennsylvania, visited the fam, and then also kind of planned a little side trip to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Amish country. If anybody's ever been there, it's a great little place, very cute. And I found this fabric outlet that was basically like a warehouse full of just pallets stacked floor to ceiling with bolts and bolts and bolts of fabric. Super cheap, So I basically spent like $100 there and came away with like 300 yards of fabric or something crazy like that. So I had my materials, and then I came back to my Brooklyn apartment, went back to the kitchen where I had my sewing machine set up, and started sketching a few ideas for dresses. I think I sketched like 3 dresses, and I thought to myself, like, okay, I'm gonna make samples so that I can then go and share this with some of the local stores that are around me. And that's the one great thing about living in New York City, is that there's a new little shop or boutique on every other corner in Brooklyn. So I made my samples, and then I did a little photo shoot. I had a friend who had a camera at the time. Phone cameras, iPhone cameras were not anything as they are today. So I had a friend with a nice camera and another friend who agreed to kind of model my dresses. We went up to the roof where I knew we'd have some good light. We just kept the whole thing super informal, super simple, had a lot of fun with it, took some pictures, and I was like, great, I can make a little lookbook, I can start a website. So I just made this really simple website so that I could, when I was reaching out to buyers, I had a link to send to them where they could check out my work online if they wanted to check that out before we met in person. And so then I did that, and I kind of figured out how to find the buyers' contact information. A lot of times it's just right on the website. Other times you kind of have to dig for it, but it's out there. And I kind of figured out who the contacts were that I needed to reach out to, and I got responses back, which was like super exciting. Not from everybody, but I definitely had some positive responses, and it was an awesome moment, because I had just kind of on a whim started something from scratch, and now I was starting to sell my clothes to stores, which is great. So by the end of that year, I had my clothes in 4 boutiques. I was selling on my own website and on Etsy, and I was selling in person in markets throughout the year in New York and Pennsylvania. So I had a busy year, and so that was kind of my story of how I stumbled into my side hustle, and I think I got really lucky, and when things just kind of came together for me. But what I wanted to talk about, and then I was thinking to myself, like, why isn't everybody doing this? I know so many talented people. Why aren't they all doing their own sort of side hustle thing and putting this effort into this thing that allows you to have the freedom from a 9-to-5, extra cash in your pocket? Why isn't everybody doing this? And then it kind of dawned on me that it's a risk. People can't just go and quit their job to, create a business. They have to have some sort of stability, especially if you have mortgage payments, or, you have children, or you have people depending on you and expenses to pay. Whereas I just kind of got thrown into it because I didn't really have anything to lose. I wasn't doing anything else. So, with that being said, I want to share with you in the month of November some of my tips and inside scoop and behind the scenes of how I got started with a side hustle, and how you can get started too, and how it can really change everything for you, no matter how much time you have to spend on something like that per week, whether you have a full-time job and you start early and you work late, been there, and you just have an hour or 2 a week to spend on it, or if you work a part-time job and you're looking for another sort of stream of income, how you can turn your skills into a profitable side hustle. And basically how, instead of stumbling into your side hustle like I did, how you can stride into your side hustle with confidence and some strategy, and kind of a little bit more like knowing what you're getting into, knowing what to do, knowing how to do it, and just kind of having more support with that. So I know a lot of people responded to the poll that I had in the Facebook group, which I really appreciate, and I had some people reach out to me separately about this topic. So I'm super happy that there's a lot of interest in it, because I know a lot of you in the group and on the page are interested in taking your leatherworking skills and kind of trying to start to generate some income from that, which you should totally do. I totally support that. So I just want to help you get started with that and give you a leg up. So that's what we're going to be talking about in November, and I'm super excited. I think it's going to be so much fun. Let me just look at my notes and see if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, so some of the things that we're going to be talking about, and if you have any other ideas of things that you'd like me to cover, just put them in the comments or send me a message. I'm open to it. This isn't like carved in stone, but some of the things that I was thinking that we were talking about is how to develop a product that your audience needs or wants, how to determine who your audience is, where to find and tap into your audience, how to price your products, and again, any other sort of related topics to that. Just let me know what you'd like to add to that. So basically, yeah, I'll be talking about that, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'm going to be publishing a blog article today or tomorrow, so I'll send the link around to that when I have it. And then, yeah, look out for next week. I think we'll talk about how to develop a product that your audience wants or needs, and do some strategy kind of brainstorming behind that. Okay, have a great day and week, and I'll talk to you soon.